Good morning, good Saturday morning. It is 9 a.m. here on the East Coast, and it is time once again for a Sales Logic, the show where we dive into the strategies, discuss the steps, everything that you need to know to sell effectively. I'm hanging out with my co-host this morning, who is up bright and early in Seattle, Washington. Hey, Mark Hunter.
Hey, good morning. Yes, it is 6 a.m. and I was hoping to get a run in after the show, but it's pouring down rain outside. So, well, welcome to Seattle, right? What can I say?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know we have a dynamite show this morning. I feel like we've packed a lot in since it was my fault we had to miss last week. So how about I pop the video and we just get started on the show?
Let's roll.
Prospect with integrity, we will get customers who have integrity. Integrity is the foundation from which everything is built on.
You better understand value. But at the end of the day, sales is a relationship business. It is a people business. It is an emotional business.
This is Sales Logic.
All right, Mark, we got a lot to talk about this morning. I got to tell you, I'm really excited because we are getting so close to Outbound, the sales conference of the year. And the most exciting part to me of Outbound is that we are going to be going live with Sales Logic from the Outbound main stage. So we want to talk about Outbound, but let's talk about what we've got covered on the show today. I mean, I just want to give everybody a brief update as to how the show works. You know, you come here every Saturday morning and we start out with a topic. We've got a question from you, the audience. If you ever want to be a part of the show, we want you to engage in the show. Just put your questions in at saleslogicpodcast.com, or you can just throw it out there on social media and hashtag Sales Logic. We have a book that we're going to suggest you read, and we're going to close out with a lightning round. So, Mark, what's on tap for today?
Well, what's on tap for today is, yes, we are talking about Outbound, but hey, the topic is, what does it mean to have a mind for sales? We got a great question that came in from Michelle in Boston we're going to get to. And yeah, well, let's go ahead and dive right into the question. The question that Michelle asked, she says, how do I stay motivated when I'm facing call after call that doesn't go anywhere? The life of a salesperson. Go ahead, jump in, Meridith.
No kidding. Boy, if you do not have a thick skin and you do not get good at rejection, sales can be a difficult job. But, you know, first of all, I know we're going to get into things like making sure you're focused on the right target market and everything. But since today's show is about mindset, I really think we need to start there, because if you are going to be in sales, you have got to begin with your mindset. And the first thing that I'm going to say is to really be in a position that sales is not about you. I think one reason that staying on the horse and continuing to make calls when you don't get a response, or people won't meet with you, or they tell you no, one reason it's difficult is because we start to focus on ourselves. We're focused on the fact that this doesn't feel good, that why won't anybody listen to me? I just can't seem to, hit my goal. Instead, focus on the fact that you have this amazing product that can really make a difference for people, and start to think about helping people rather than think about your own rejection.
You know, there's so much that you said there. And the whole thing is, you can't allow it to be focused on you, because it's easy for us to sit here and say, oh man, nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. No, it's not. That's not it at all. Here's the whole thing. Here's what I think about when I'm making outbound calls and I'm working with teams and so forth. You have to focus on where the other person's coming from. You don't know where the other person's coming from when you call them. You have no clue at all. And they really weren't expecting your call. I get it. Totally understand it. But you can help them. The way I describe and the way I set up when I'm talking to people about, hey, I got to make calls to call out. Here's the frame you have to have in your mind. And that is simply this. If you had a problem and you knew somebody who could help you, you knew somebody could help you, wouldn't you want them to reach out to you? You see, you want them to reach out to you so they can help you solve the problem, right? Yes. So what is it about? You are that person who is reaching out to somebody who is helping them with a problem. The challenge is they don't always know right then and there that's the problem they want to fix. They don't always want to know. There's many other things on their plate. But rest assured, what you're doing is you're helping them. Stay focused, stay in the game, and relax. You're going to have a lot of rejections. And in between all that rejection, there's going to be moments of utter joy. And you're going to go, yeah, I nailed it. And you know what? It's that one person that you're able to help. That's what makes it really all come to life for what you do.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of my golf game. I have a lot of bad shots, but it's that one good shot or that great putt that keeps me coming back. So those are the mindset pieces, but let's really get into some of the systemic or foundational pieces that may be setting you up for a lot of rejection. I'm going to steal a line from my partner here. Your reputation arrives before you do. Mark Hunter is famous for saying that and being passionate about it, and it is so true. Nobody is going to pick up the phone for somebody they have not heard of and about. So you've got to question, really, what are you doing to get in the line of fire of your target market, of those people that you're calling on? Because the truth is, right now, while you're on this podcast with us, your best customers, your top prospects, they are online Googling for information. They're talking to their friends. They're in chat rooms. They're educating themselves about the products and services they need. And if your name isn't coming up, if your business isn't popping off people's lips, then you are entering the game at halftime. You have to understand that the sales cycle starts before you ever enter it. So you need to get out there in front of it.
Oh, and not only does it start with the customer before you ever realize it, it starts in your own mind before you ever realize it. Shoot, we're kind of moving into the topic right now of, how do you have that mind for sales? And I'll tell you what, you got to frame your mind up. One of the things that I always tell salespeople do, you take a piece of paper and you write down your 10 best customers. Just write them down on a piece of paper. And next to it, you write down the outcomes you've helped them achieve, not what you sold them. What you sold them is really irrelevant. I really do believe that what you sell is irrelevant. It's the outcomes you help them achieve. What were they able to achieve because of what you were able to do for them? That's what you focus on. And when you make that list, you give yourself a big hug and you go, yeah, I'm good. That really begins to frame up your mind in an oil. And then you have to go into the expectation. And Michelle, our person who asked the question this morning, I get a rejection. But you know what? You have to go into every day, every call, anticipating success. We get out of a call what we put our mindset into at the start of the call. It really is amazing how our mindset frames up what we hear, how we respond, and the ultimate goal, the ultimate objective, or the ultimate outcome we come out of that call with.
Yeah. So our outbound buddy Larry Levine just jumped in here and said, your customers have options. Are you top of on their mind and their number one choice? Are you leaning in and helping them? And literally, Larry wrote the book on that. I think the other thing to pay attention to when it comes to rejection is to think about the fact of learn from it. If people are not responding to you, it's not that they're not interested. It's not that they don't need the product or service. It's that you didn't position it right. You didn't solve the problem. You just heard Mark talk about outcomes. I got the chance to interview Scale Your Sales expert Janice Gordon earlier this week, and she's based in London and she's phenomenal. And she really talks a lot about your outcomes are what differentiate you in the marketplace. And outcomes, so often we determine the outcomes, but that's not what you need to do. It's just like Mark said, you need to talk to your customers. Figure out from them what the outcomes are, what that language is from them. Because the language that your current customers are having, what they're saying you helped them solve, is exactly what prospects are looking for. So you may be selling the right product, you're just positioning it wrong. And the only way to understand how to position value is to talk to your customers.
See, there's something very powerful there, especially if you sell a commodity. Now, first of all, I can't stand this whole idea. Nobody sells commodities because there's a difference in everything that's sold. But if you feel that what you sell is a commodity, think about it. Is the customer buying a commodity? No. They're buying something that they want to use to achieve something. That's what you focus on. Go downstream. When you go downstream, it's amazing the value you can begin to unpack. When you go upstream, it's amazing the value that you can unpack. The key here, what we're talking about, is you have to look at every sale as being much broader than what it is that you are selling. When you begin to look at how much broader the outcome is that you create, you know what you begin to do? You begin to realize there's other things that you can be helping them with, which really sets up another whole piece about having a mind for sales. And that is realizing that the sale you make is only a good sale if it leads to the next sale. And that, again, is part of the whole mindset frame.
Yeah, it's I'm going to tell a really quick story, but it's a story I love about outcomes and selling the right product. It's the story of Procter and Gamble and Ivory soap. When they put Ivory soap on the market, you talk about selling a commodity. Soap is pretty much a generic product. But they went to customers before they marketed and said, what do you like about soap? What do you not like about soap? And customers said they loved soap. They wanted to use soap. But the problem with soap was when you lathered up with it, it would slip out of your hands. And quote unquote, customers said, we want a soap that floats. So they injected air into a bar of soap and Ivory soap was born. What you need to understand about that was while their competitors were selling soaps that smelled good, soaps that came in different shapes, soaps that came in different colors, Procter & Gamble was selling a soap that solved the exact problem their customers said they had. And by the end of the 1800s, Procter & Gamble was $1 million company. That's the lesson you need to understand when it comes to rejection. Honestly, I think one of the biggest mistakes we make as salespeople is we determine the problem we're solving. And I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, we're going to get it wrong.
Oh, we're always going to get it wrong because we are not listening to the customer. And go back to that whole piece about the soap. The outcome was people wanted a bar of soap that floated in the bathtub. That's what the outcome was. And P&G solved it. Think about this. Your customers have issues. Your customers have problems. And again, this is why you have to go into every sale, every call with a mind for sales, because what that means is that you're open. Your mind is open to hear. Your mind is open to receive. And your mind is open to really challenge them with more questions and engage. Here's what I find. When I have a true mind for sales, I am absolutely in the groove of having a dialogue, having a conversation with the customer. That's where I'm trying to get to. That's where I'm in my happy place. And you know what? The customer's in the happy place. There's something else that's very interesting. We've been talking about this, and you talk about making outbound calls and all these types of things. What I'm finding right now, more than ever, customers are really only into solving their number one or number two problems. If it's not their number one or number two problem, it may be a great idea. But the problem is, how do I find out? I've got to be willing to engage with them more. I have to be willing to engage with them more to be able to understand, how do I make sure that what I have, the outcome I'm going to help you with, is going to help you solve your number one or number two problem.
Yeah, so smart. I love what Tyler said here. Why should they buy from me versus someone else is the mentality he goes into every call. So smart. But Mark, what you were just talking about there is that, solving their number one or two problem. When we skip over the number one or two problem, and we may be right, the number 3 and 4 problem is a bigger problem and they would get stronger return on investment if they solve that first. But when we skip over their 1 and 2 problem, I call it skipping over urgent need. We signal to the customer we're not listening to them. We don't care about what's important to them. I think as salespeople, one of the most important things we can do is walk into every call taking direction from the customer. Because in the beginning of a prospect relationship, one we want to turn into customer, we're looking to build trust first. Because the moment that you trust me, I can sell you anything under the sun. Now you're bought in and I can more direct and control the conversation. But at the beginning, listening is a powerful way we earn trust. And we pay attention to that number one and number two problem. We build trust that leads to other things.
Boy, you just said something dangerous. You mean I'm supposed to let the customer be in control? Excuse me, that's radical thinking. But you know what? It's spot on, isn't it? And this is the whole thing. You know what's funny is only confident salespeople will let the customer drive. Really, if you really stop and think about that, because so many salespeople go in and they're scared stiff, whether it be on the phone, however it might be, and they have this script, they have this messaging, and they want to be in control. And they miss everything. The confident salesperson, the salesperson who has the true mind for sales, is the one who's really, really willing to let the customer drive the car. And they know that, you know what, it's going to work out because they know that the customer is going to take them to where really they want to go. And what's that going to do? It's going to put the salesperson in a better place to be able to solve the challenge that the customer has to achieve the outcome that they're looking for. That's how you create the number one or number two outcome.
Yeah. Mark, we have gone almost 17 minutes just on this question, and this is a 25-minute show. We probably better move on to the topic at hand, but I have a feeling we have covered a lot of the topic.
Well, I think we have. I think we have. And you know what's funny is this is really what Outbound is. If you come to Outbound, and if you're catching this live, you got to get the ticket right now because it happens the week after next. If you're catching the podcast afterwards, man, you got to make sure you get to Outbound 2022. But Meridith and I will be there. Larry Levine, who chimed in with a comment earlier, he's there. It is just an absolutely amazing event, and I can't stress it enough. It's all about outbound selling. It's prospecting, productivity, and pipeline. And it's in Atlanta. Go to outboundconference.com. You can use the code, Mark100. You can use Meridith, but they spell the name differently. So we'll just use Mark100. Okay. I mean, anyway. Hey,
that's right. Whatever's easier, just get there.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, it stopped raining outside. I might be able to go for a run here later on. Anyway, nice. Hey, let's cut to the chase and let's get to the book. And I don't know who wrote this book. Who wrote this book, A Mind for Sales? Hey, I'm going to be talking about it at Outbound. And it really is. This book came out a year ago and right at the start of the pandemic. And I think I don't know. Do you like it?
I love this book. I've already reviewed it. I've read it. I am recommending it to my friends and to my clients. What I love about this book, Mark, is that you have nailed what is the foundation of sales. I always say to people, you got to get your skill set. All of that is important. But if you don't have your head right around sales, what our customers are buying is our confidence, our energy, our belief in what we're doing. And you have to master that piece first. And you have done that beautifully.
And for those of you who are listening to the audio, the book is A Mind for Sales. And yeah, it was written by me. Man, it's kind of weird talking about your own book, but yeah.
You need to talk about it, brag about it. Why?
I know.
Mark, you have written books about, prospecting. What made you go in and focus on A Mind for Sales? Why go there with this book?
Well, real quickly, we're running out of time. I wrote High Profit Prospecting, and I thought, okay, this is done. Everybody learns how to, here's the key. And they said, my head's not in the game. That's what really caused me to write A Mind for Sales. Because if your head's not in the game, guess what? I don't care what the process is, you have. It's not going to work. But anyway, the book is A Mind for Sales. Hey, we got to cut to the lightning round.
Wait a minute, Mark. How do people find out about the book? Where do they get book? Saying how much they love the book, but you cannot tease the audience and not tell them where to get it.
Okay, you go to Amazon. That's probably the best place, or Barnes & Noble, your bookstores. The website, thesaleshunter.com, is prominently featured on there. you can get the book. Get the book. Hey, when you get the book, leave me another review, would you? Because I'm always on a race with Meridith to get more reviews on books because she's coming out with a great book, Thrive, in just a couple of weeks. So anyway, okay, hey, let's cut to the lightning round. And the lightning round is, how do you stay motivated? Go.
How do you stay motivated? Number one is you read A Mind for Sales. It's going to get your head right and in the right position.
Man, you were really promoting the book. I'm going to say you start off each morning by being thankful for what was the thing you accomplished the day before.
Yeah, you take some time to, at the end of every week, to review your wins. So often we get focused on what isn't working. You need to take the time to really reflect on what did go well, what did go right, and what is moving forward.
You've got to find peers who you can hang out with, who are absolutely motivated. It's why I hang out with Meridith, because she's motivated and she motivates me. I motivate her.
That's right. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I would say stay motivated by devote some time every day, even if it's as short as 30 minutes, to working on your craft, getting better at something. Devote, because that builds your confidence, and your confidence motivates you.
Focus on the outcomes you create. It's not what you sell. Focus on the outcomes and celebrate how you've been able to help people and businesses achieve a higher level of anything, whatever it was that you sold them.
I'm going to steal Jacqueline Joy's here. I love that our listeners are piping in. I am statements. That's good. I am successful. I am closing a lot of sales. I am making a difference for my customers. See, I feel more motivated already.
There you go. Know that your goal today is to earn the right, the privilege, honor, and respect to be able to talk with that person again tomorrow. That's your goal. That's your goal. Earn the right, privilege, honor, respect to talk with that person again.
I think you need to pay attention, follow, and even read about some of the greats inside your industry and outside of your industry. Any successful people, when you understand their story, you're going to see it is ripped with failure and rejection, and that it really is about getting back up on the horse. And it's so inspiring to listen to and read about what people have overcome.
I'll share one more, you share one more, and we'll kind of close it down. I'm going to say that you start each day fresh. Each day starts brand new. And what does that mean? Whatever happened yesterday, you know what? Hey, we get to start it all over again today. And that means every call we have the opportunity to turn into a success.
And I'm going to close out by saying, manage your energy, not your time. There are things that really motivate you, pump energy into you. Mark said he was going to go for a run, when this is over. Maybe it's, going outside and playing with your dog or spending a little bit of time with your children. Whatever motivates you, balance your day with that. Make sure that you have opportunities throughout the day to infuse energy back into you so that you have what you need to make it through the challenge, the positives and the negatives that sales brings to us every day.
And I'm going to say, get a ticket to Outbound, because Outbound is coming up June 13th through the 18th. That's the virtual live in Atlanta. Meridith and I are both going to be there. Hey, you're going to get motivated. Trust me, believe me. We got a few surprises planned for the Outbound show, whether you're in person or online. Get to Outbound. But anyway, hey, I want to say thank you for listening to Sales Logic this week. If you like what you hear, rate and review, and hey, subscribe to the show and make it your favorite podcast. If something we've said has earned you a single dollar, consider telling a friend about our show. It's how we grow to help you grow. I'm Mark Hunter.
And I'm Meridith Elliott Powell.
Remember, when you sell with confidence and integrity,
uncertainty suddenly becomes your competitive advantage.
And the sale becomes logical at Outbound.
Well, virtually or in person, we will see you at Outbound. But listen, we have had such great participation today. I really want to encourage you guys. We are doing this show live from Outbound. If you have questions, if you want us to cover topics, really, this is your time. We would love to make this show about you. Just reach out to saleslogicpodcast.com. Go on social media, hashtag, or just reach out to Mark and I. The last thing I'm going to say, if you do nothing else today, please go to saleshunter.com and get your copy of A Mind for Sales. You are not going to be sorry. We'll see you We'll see you. I guess we'll see you one more week before we go live at Outbound, right?
Yes. And I get to go watch my son graduate with his MBA. So I'm excited about that.
Congratulations. So, but that's got to be pretty motivating.
That is motivating. Motivating when I hear the amount of money he paid to get his MBA.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in on a Saturday morning. We are so lucky. We have the best audience. We'll see you next week. We'll see you at Outbound. And there may be a quiz next week on A Mind for Sales. So get your copy. All right. Have a great week.